I'm Jennifer Helene, the director of the Culinary Institute here at Hippocrates Health Institute and the online programs. I'm here today with Dr. Brian Clement, an extraordinary man who's brought light of truth to so many people, hundreds of thousands of people, and I have some questions for him because we've got to bust some myths.
Good, I like busting myths.
There's a lot of misinformation out there.
Yes, mostly misinformation.
And I'm getting questions all day long from our students globally about a few things, and I need you to clear it up for me because it is just getting out of control. People don't know who to trust, they don't know where to go, what to believe. So what's the skinny on the keto diet?
Well, the keto diet has good intent. The modern keto diet, because it really began the concept in 1928, and it has been remanufactured and re-sculptured. And recently we had a major science conference here, and I brought the founders of the modern ketogenic diet. Rather than have opinions without knowledge, I'd rather have knowledge to gain an opinion.
I love it.
And so we had the people here, and they got incredible results by raising the amount of fat in the husband's diet because he had dementia. And we now know that scientifically this is true. Now, once they got it into a prominent spotlight, others hijacked it and expounded on it and expanded the possibilities and made myth out of it. Eating butter is a great thing for you. There's not a sensible scientist on the planet Earth that bothered to read any data for the last 50 years that would tell you butter's healthy for you. But do we need essential fats? Absolutely. And is the brain made of fat? Absolutely. So when we used to call people fatheads, we should say thank you, because the fatter your head is, seemingly the more intelligent we are.
Okay.
But you don't need to eat garbage fat.
Okay.
And you don't need to eat cooked fat, which we know for 68 years caused cancer, caused heart disease, etc. So we need the essential fats from plants. Let's remember, all fats originate in plants, essential fatty acids. First one was discovered back in 1929, and that was omega-6. Now we find out that's okay, but not the best. 1981, we discovered omega-3. That's sort of the superstar, the one that runs around shining all of the time. Now we know there's a 9 and a 12 and a 16, etc.
Yeah.
And the recent data is that all of them symbiotically work together, but they all come from plants. The fat that you get from milk, unfortunately, which makes butter, makes ice cream, makes all the things I used to eat, comes from the grass.
Yes.
Recognize that. So we are meant to go directly to the source and not eat these abbreviated processed forms that give us heart disease and strokes and cancer. And so, great idea, wrong products, and it's a big hype job. Bingo, out the window it goes.
I love it. No, but we love what ketogenesis does.
Oh, yes, yes.
We love that the body burns fat by eating
Absolutely.
fat. It's counterintuitive in a way,
Yes.
but it's what happens.
Yeah, well.
People love their brains, they get switched on. Whereas they say when they're vegan, their brains aren't switched on.
Now, something's wrong with the vegan diet they're on there.
Okay.
Because I can tell you, my brain's been switched on for 50 years. I can't shut it off.
Oh my goodness.
But here's what happens. There's a lot of people get on the mundane vegan diet.
Yeah.
And they become moral. Well, I agree with morality. We don't want to eat animals. We don't want to rob them of their milk. But the fact of the matter is, you don't replace it with garbage.
Right.
You don't replace it with burgers that are made out of genetically modified organisms.
Correct.
You don't replace it with things that have little to no fat.
Right.
And by the way, when you're eating the food, almost all of it is cooked with most vegans.
True.
If it's not raw, it's dangerous. Recognize that. So there's not a competent vegan who lives on this diet, because we've helped hundreds and thousands of people reverse dementia and Alzheimer's disease on the Hippocrates lifestyle. There's not an institution in the planet's history that can prove what we can prove. We do clinical research on people. This isn't a theory here. This isn't a book I wrote among the books I've written on this. And I believe that the body needs fat. I think the biggest mistake we made is back in the 1960s and 70s, when science radically shifted away from all fats and replaced it with sugar. That was the beginning of the downfall. If you look at the brilliant work of Michael Pollack, he did an expose in the New York Times Sunday section one time that showed the obesity levels. The more sugar, the more fat the people became. But then we didn't understand essential fats. Remember, it was 1981 when we discovered omega-3.
Right.
So 70s, we didn't know it. Now we understand we were missing that. And most people who choose plant-based diets are not choosing healthy plant-based diets. If I were you, quite simply, I'd be choosing the diet that has been proven for the last 7 decades to help people reverse disease and aging.
And that's the point.
That's the point.
It's proven. We don't have to question it.
That's right.
We've seen it happen time and time again.
Yes.
So could this be the vegan ketogenic diet?
This
could
is
the
the
Hippocrates?
ketogenic,
It
yeah.
is, right?
Whatever it is. This is the Paleo diet. This is the ketogenic diet. We don't have to repackage it. We're all things to all people, making all sense and scientifically validated.
I know a lot of ketogenic fanatics
Yes.
don't want to be eating all the animal products,
Yes.
but they don't trust that they can get their needs met, their protein needs, because it doesn't fit the equation
Yeah.
of ketogenic diet, right? Because carbohydrates, in an avocado or in a sunflower seed sprout, they add up.
Yes.
And so they can't quite wrap their heads around it.
Well, all they have to do is understand basic science. And sadly, nutritionists who were trained like you and me were trained improperly. When I got my doctorate in nutrition, I had to actually lie on half the test to pass it. I knew more than the people who precipitated that test. And so the fact of the matter is, even we experts, if we don't go a step further and really look at the real data and employ this in human lives, not in laboratory settings, we don't learn the things that we learn. All amino acids come from photons from the sun and are captured on green leafy plants. Right behind us here on the campus of Hippocrates, you see green leafy plants. This has more protein than any substance or food on the planet Earth. And by the way, that's why these large muscular animals, not you and I, but large muscular animals, thrive on that protein.
Yes.
And what are we? Saying we're different than those creatures?
Yes.
They're flesh, blood, and bones. And that's what we are. So if people are so fragile, they're going to listen to ill-educated experts,
Yes.
nutritionists. Shame on those experts, and shame on you for not having your own opinion and going one step further.
Yeah, because that's what it takes.
Takes it.
Because you got to have a little courage, curiosity, commitment, as you say, focus, and follow through.
That's right.
And then you get these results. Because what I notice is the people that get great results on a paleo diet, for example, it's a little more approachable than keto.
Yes.
The people who are just, keto's kind of extreme.
Yes.
But they get great results for about 4 months. They lose the weight, and then all of a sudden something happens in month 5. They start to get dark circles under their eyes.
Yes.
Their liver starts to kind of get sluggish. Their colon isn't quite moving the same way that it used to. And then you find that their hormones are getting out of whack.
Yeah.
And then now I got to undo all that.
It's a problem, because when your hormones get out of whack, you age prematurely, your brain goes south, your libido goes south, your heart doesn't work the way it should. And the fact of the matter is, there is nobody who really looks clearly at science that would agree with that type of approach to lifestyle and diet. It just doesn't work. And the fact is, just because everyone is doing something that's very similar doesn't mean it's right. Everyone thinks that war is something that we have to have. Do we? How about if everyone tomorrow thought, no, war wasn't natural?
Yeah.
How about if everyone thought tomorrow that hatred and racism and sexism wasn't natural?
Yeah.
That would go away too. So it's time that we wake up and grow up and mature and start to take responsible choices from our heart, not our head, not our intellect.
Right.
Not the talking heads who know very little about nothing and regurgitate the last generation's philosophy.
Yeah. Well, and that's that wisdom from inside gets blocked by the chemicals and the foods that we're eating, actually.
That's right.
And of course, all of the inclusion right now of only ourselves with ourselves inside of our homes.
Oh,
It's
yeah.
been a stressful time for most people.
That's true. And most people don't like themselves. They're not happy to be with themselves.
That's
So
true.
it sort of frustrates them and gets them out of whack, etc. Wouldn't it be nice if we all liked to be alone sometimes so we could go out and be whole with other people?
Yeah.
Be complete with other people?
This is an opportunity to do that, I think, this isolation.
Yes.
But when we go to paleo, people talk about how the cavemen, or if there were cavemen, this is what they ate. But I assert that they also gathered nuts and berries and seeds and root vegetables. Could you speak for a moment about this caveman mentality?
No.
And I don't mean to speak poorly about it. I'm not
No.
judgmental. But I believe that they did both things, perhaps. I don't know. What do you think about
Well,
it?
we should be judgmental, because if you look at the history of why anthropology turned in the direction of saying hunters and gatherers, it only happened in the 19th century.
Yeah.
Up until then, we believed we were gatherers. And when we were agrarian, most of us thrived on the plants we grew in our farms and
Yes.
gardens. And There's once in a while courageous anthropologists that step out of line and start to speak with clarity and confidence and historic data. And one I admire the most is Dr. Licky, who's an anthropologist, who basically did something that all of these people who had opinions and no knowledge should have done. He looked at the teeth of pre-Homo sapiens and we Homo sapiens from the beginning of time to now.
Thank you, yes.
And what he did is he looked with the most sophisticated microscopes at the indentations on the teeth. And guess what he discovered? We Homo sapiens were plant eaters, not flesh eaters.
It's logical.
Complete
When
logic.
you look at our teeth versus a tiger's teeth,
That's right.
or even a dog's teeth.
Now, the interesting thing is we actually ate greens and fruits. So the original diet of man was greatly fruit and greatly greens. The only time we ate nuts, seeds, grains, and beans were when there were droughts. And he was wise enough to bring a geologist in who said, gee, why are the indentations for this 10-year period much different than the last 500 years before that, or 100 years? And they said, that's when we had a drought. The drought's over, the indentations go away. So our diets have literally morphed and adapted to what we live today. And so we do take nuts, seeds, grains, and beans and make them into plants. We sprout them. So they become the plants that our ancestors ate.
That's right.
And fruits, unfortunately, have been so hybrid, and our pancreas no longer works. We've had dramatically reduced fruits in the point when people are sick with major diseases, we eliminate fruits temporarily.
Right.
And at most, we eat small amounts because the content in one fruit is probably the sugar that used to be in 10 fruits before. That's how much. And so we don't come from a place of philosophy. We come from a place of true, legitimate, historic data and application here on the campus of Hippocrates, doing blood tests, our medical team observing with scans the development of people, what happens day by day when people adopt a plant-based organic diet.
It's shocking, Brian.
It's shocking.
The results.
And the end result is, you don't have to be a scientist or doctor to see it, people reverse catastrophic
They do.
cancer. They reverse easily heart disease and diabetes.
Absolutely.
And all of these things are not diseases, they're your lifestyle problems, and we can correct them here.
Yes, absolutely. And blood and weight never lie.
Never lie.
And it's right there. The
How
proof.
much weight did you lose when you changed to a plant-based living diet?
Easily 50 pounds.
Yeah, I lost 120 pounds. 120 pounds. And did nothing else, because I wasn't even exercising, frankly. Nothing else. If I'd exercised, it would have come off quicker and better and more attractively.
I was pre-diabetic.
Oh my God.
And I thought I needed to go on the paleo diet because that's what my doctor told me to do. So I tried it for 6 months and it didn't work. My numbers didn't budge. And it was only until I adopted this lifestyle, seriously, with commitment and follow through, that it changed. My
And you were
numbers
just
went
a
right
young lady, and here
Yeah.
you were with pre-diabetic condition.
back. Yeah. And my father came here, reversed his diabetes.
Yes, yeah, I remember.
I mean, it's like one right after the next. I don't know how you, I mean,
Well, anyone who does this with conscious focus, they all get better.
amazing. So paleo isn't the way, keto isn't the way,
no.
not for the planet, not for human health, and not for longevity. That's the biggest piece.
That's right. I mean, everyone's talking to me about fighting a disease, conquering a disease. How the hell we don't think about the most important thing? How long do you want to live? What quality of life do you want to have? I mean, people say to me, how long do you want to live? I said, as long as I possibly can. I'm having fun. Now, if you're not having fun, maybe you want to get on the paleo diet or the ketogenic diet or the blood type diet, because you can check out quicker, I can assure you, with doing all of the things. You get on this diet, you better be happy, because you're going to live a hell of a lot longer with a whole lot more quality of your life.
Love it.
Yes.
I love it. Thank you, Brian.
You're welcome. So it was nice to talk to you today.
Nice to talk to you too. I hope this clarified some things for you. It certainly did for me. And knowing the truth, knowing the way, and getting the knowledge that you need from the Hippocrates Health Institute, whether it's the online program or giving yourself the greatest gift you could possibly give by coming here and experiencing a 3-week life transformation program on campus. Thank you.